notice having been transmitted to the Courier News, Star Ledger on Tuesday, January 2nd, 2018, as well as posting on the bulletin board in the city clerk's office. May I have a roll call, please?
Council members Good.
Present.
Councilman Hockaday. Here. Councilman Storch is absent during roll call. Councilwoman Tolliver.
Here.
Councilwoman Williams. During roll call, Vice President Ozarski.
Present.
Council President McCray.
Present.
We have 5 members present and a quorum.
Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing for the invocation.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Humbly we ask God, the giver of peace and the lover of charity, to give the entire family of nations true agreement with his will, and to grant the light of his spirit on all those who work for justice and peace. Amen.
Amen.
May I have a motion to approve the minutes of the regular meeting of February 12, 2018? Move.
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? Any abstaining? Mr. Clerk, are there any communications from the mayor?
Yes, the mayor has submitted various nominations for the Plainfield Youth Commission and the Plainfield Shade Tree Commission as though on the agenda for consideration.
We have some ceremonial matters.
Yes, first we have Councilman Barry Good, who will present a councilman resolution honoring the Plainfield Vikings standstill.
Plainfield Vikings, Division 12, please come forward. Thank you. Coaches as well as coordinators as well, if they're here. Good evening, everyone. City of Plainfield, New Jersey, the Plainfield Municipal Council hereby issues this resolution in honoring the Plainfield Vikings Division 12 dance team. Whereas the governing body, introduced by myself, Councilman Barry Good, whereas the governing body of the City of Plainfield is proud to recognize the outstanding achievements of the Plainfield Vikings Division 12 dance team on their remarkable performances throughout the various seasons. Whereas the Plainfield Vikings Division 12 dance team's stellar performance during the American Youth Cheer competition held on December 10, 2017 in Florida captured them the titling of earning national championship for their second consecutive year. And whereas in addition to their extraordinary dancing ability, the Plainfield Vikings Division 12 dance team volunteered their services in various community projects, including, but not limited to, assisting in several annual Christmas dinners to over 300 plus individuals, assisting in the cleaning and painting of the Plainfield Rescue Squad, in addition to offering their services during Community Day. And whereas the governing body of the City of Plainfield recognizes the significant positive influences such as organization achieve that help channel the energies and enthusiasm of so many citizens into healthy activities, teaching sportsmanship and a competitive will to win. The Plainfield Vikings Division 12 team exemplify a mission of building today's youth to be tomorrow's leaders. Now, there be it resolved that the governing body of the City of Plainfield congratulates the staff and all family members of the Plainfield Vikings Division 12 dance team. Head coach, Starlene Hunter, assistant coach, Raleen Robinson, cheer dance step coordinator, Judy Fields, cheer dance assistant step coordinator, Kathy Holly, dance team members, Ashley Bascom, please forgive me if I mispronounce your name, Ashlyn Bascom, Balan Trapp, Naira Hunter, Azzy Howell, Jaslyn Robinson, Jeriva Price, and Nahira Beasley. I hope I didn't chop those names up too bad. Further resolve that this governing body does hereby spread upon its permanent records evidence of the multiple achievements of such an outstanding group of young ladies, and does further send sincere congratulations on this day, March 12, 2018. Signed and sealed. Thank you. Thank you, ladies.
Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. During Women's History Month, which this is March, it's only fitting that we celebrate the women who volunteer their time on boards and commissions in Plainfield. So I am going to read the resolution, and each one of the women who's called will receive a resolution in the mail from clerk Charlotte in the near future. And since everyone's not here, it's about 33, but they're not here. Those that are, I would ask you to come up to when I call your name. Whereas throughout history, women have driven humanity forward on the path to a more equal and just society, contributing in innumerable ways to our character and progress as a people. In the face of discrimination and undue hardship, they have never given up on the promise that with hard work and determination, nothing is out of reach. And whereas during Women's History Month, we remember the trailblazers of the past, including women who are not recorded in our history books, and we honor their legacies by carrying forward the valuable lessons learned from the powerful examples they set. And whereas during Women's History Month, we honor the countless women in our city and across the county who sacrificed and strive to ensure all people have an equal shot at pursuing the American dream. Now therefore be it resolved that the Plainfield City Council does hereby recognize the month of March as Women's History Month and thus further dedicate this resolution to the men and women who dedicate their time, expertise, and commitment to our Plainfield community by volunteering on the various boards and commissions. Starting with the Plainfield Housing Authority, Dolly Hamlin. I'm going to continue to call the names, so if you're here, come. If not, I'm still going to recognize each one for the record. Jeanette M. Edgehill, Pamela Dunn Hill, Viola Barker. Public Library Board of Trustees, Karen Cooper, Dr. Inez Durham, Margaret Lewis, Mary Benini, Patricia Fleming. Hospital, Damaris E. Ortega, Flora Gonzalez, Georgina Solis, and Maritza Martinez. Historic Preservation Commission, Aisha Eustache, Sandra Gushman. Human Relations Commission, Emily E. Morgan. Cable TV Commission, Mary Ellen Rogan. Plainfield PMUA, Marlene Powell, Michelle Graham Lyons. Kathleen White, Robin C. Wright. Shade Tree Commission, Barbara Sutton Bellmeyer, Jan Massey, Kelly J. O'Hara, Mary Burtwinkle, Vanessa Doman. Plainfield Planning Board, Maritza Hall. Plainfield Regional Steward Authority, Carol Ann Brokar. Plainfield Cultural and Heritage Commission, Nancy Piedmont. Walcott, Louise A. Kalodny, Victoria Griswold. Zoning Board of Adjustments, Mary Burkwinkle, Nancy Gerald. And Plainfield Board of Education, Dr. Vonia A. Richardson Miller, Thomasita Powell, Emily Morgan, Lynn Anderson. Adopted by the unanimous Municipal Council of the City of Plainfield. Attested on today, March 12, 2018. Our picture, you got our picture? Okay. Did you get the picture? I don't want them to sit down and see. Telling me I didn't do Plainfield Youth Commission. Nancy, are you here? Nancy Jordan? Okay, stand up, Nancy. And Kelly. Definitely make sure you get a resolution. Sorry. Okay.
Mr. Clerk, please read NC 2018-03 by title and further certify that the ordinance has complied with all statutory publication requirements.
MC 2018-03 is an ordinance authorizing the execution of a financial agreement with 200 Plainfield Avenue Urban Renewal LLC, granting a tax exemption with respect to certain properties commonly known as 619 South 2nd Street, 615 through 617 South 2nd Street, 200 through 22 Plainfield Avenue, identified as Block 111, Lot 16, 17, and 18.1. It's hereby certified that notice of a public hearing on this ordinance was published in the Courier News on February 16, 2018.
The floor is now open for any member of the public who would like to speak on this ordinance. Seeing none, may I have a motion to close the public comment?
Move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
May I have a motion to adopt this ordinance on second reading and final passage? And if adopted, the ordinance shall be published as required by law. Can I get a roll call, please?
You need a motion in a second.
Motion. Move.
Second.
So call on MC 2018-03, council members Good,
Yes.
Hockaday,
Yes.
Councilman Storch,
Yes.
Councilwoman Tolliver,
Yes.
Councilwoman Williams,
Yes.
Vice President Rose Hanson,
Yes.
Council President McCray.
Yes.
And it's unanimous, this ordinance has been adopted on second reading and final passage.
Mr. Clerk, please read MC 2018-04 by title and further certify that the ordinance has complied with all statutory publication requirements.
MC 2018-04 is an ordinance granting Title 39 jurisdiction to the city of Plainfield over roads and parking lots located at the properties on 200-209 West 2nd Street and 135 through 145 West 2nd Street. It's hereby certified that notice of public hearing on this ordinance was published in Courier News on February 16, 2018.
The floor is now open to any member of the public who would like to speak on this ordinance. May I have a motion to close public comment?
Second.
All in- May I have a motion to adopt this ordinance on second reading and final passage? And if so, the ordinance shall be published as required by law.
Move.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Roll call on MC 2018-04, council members Good,
Yes.
Councilman Hockaday,
Yes.
Councilman Storch,
Yes.
Councilwoman Tolliver,
Yes.
Councilwoman Williams,
Yes.
Vice President Rose Hanson,
Yes.
Council President McCray.
Yes.
This ordinance has been adopted on second reading and final passage.
A total of 30 minutes has been allocated for the public comments limited to resolutions and ordinance being considered this evening. If you wish to be heard, please give your name and address to the clerk for the record. Each speaker will be given 3 minutes, and the floor is now open. You come to the mic. You come to the mic.
I want to speak at any point or just about now?
Just about ordinance and resolutions that are now on the
Okay.
agenda now. Seeing none, may I have a motion to close public comment?
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Mr. President, the consent agenda has been identified as resolutions R107-18 through R113-18, R121-18 through R136-18, and R138-18 through R141-18.
May I have a motion to move the consent agenda?
Yes.
Roll call, please.
Seconded.
Second.
Roll call on the consent agenda. Council members Good,
Yes.
Councilman Hockaday,
Yes.
Councilman Storch,
Yes.
Councilwoman Tower,
Yes.
Councilwoman Williams,
Yes.
Vice President Rose Ransom,
Yes.
Council President McCray.
Yes.
That is unanimous, the consent agenda has been approved.
Mr. Clerk, would you please read the remaining resolutions for consideration appearing under administrative and executive branch?
From the resolution R114-18, authorizing settlement in the matter of James Lopez versus the City of Plainfield.
May I have a motion to approve?
Move.
Second.
Seconded.
All in favor? May I have a motion to approve?
Move.
Second. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions?
Resolution R115-18, authorizing settlement in the matter of Joyce Pollard versus the City of Plainfield.
May I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions?
Resolution R116-18 is authorizing a waiver of the municipal code and authorizing Apasher to serve as the third-party health insurance administrator, broker, and risk manager.
May I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions?
Resolution R117-18 is authorizing the rejection of the bid for the Dudley House renovation.
May I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions?
Resolution R118-18 is authorizing the execution of a professional services agreement between the City of Plainfield and Claims Resolution Corporation.
May I have a motion to approve?
Move.
Seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions?
Resolution R119-18 is ratifying the execution of an agreement between the City of Plainfield and the Plainfield Municipal Managers Association.
May I have a motion to approve?
Move.
Make a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions?
Resolution R120-18 authorizing the adoption of the current fund temporary emergency appropriations prior to the adoption of the calendar year 2018 budget.
May I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions?
Resolution R137-18 authorizing and approving a memorandum of understanding with Lime Bike.
May I have a motion to approve?
Move.
Second.
All in favor?
No.
Any opposed?
Yes, opposed.
Any abstentions?
That concludes resolutions.
Okay. We now come to the ordinance on first reading. Mr. Clerk, will you please read ordinance MC 2018-05 by title?
MC 2018-05 is an ordinance to amend and supplement Chapter 16 Vehicles and Traffic, Article 13 Speed Regulations of the Municipal Code, of the City of Plainfield, 1971.
I will now entertain a motion to adopt this ordinance on first reading.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Clerk, may I have a roll call, please?
Roll call on MC 2018-05. Council members Good,
Yes.
Councilman Hockaday,
Yes.
Councilman Storch,
Yes.
Councilwoman Tower,
Yes.
Councilwoman Williams,
Yes.
Vice President Rose Ransom,
Yes.
Council President McCray.
Yes.
That is unanimous. A public hearing on this ordinance will take place at the next regular meeting on Monday, April 9th, 2022.
Mr. Clerk, will you please read ordinance MC 2018-06 by title?
MC 2018-06 is an ordinance to amend and supplement Chapter 16 Vehicles and Traffic, Article 7, through street stops, intersections, stops, and yield intersections designating certain four-way stop intersections.
I will now entertain a motion to adopt this ordinance on first reading.
Move.
Second.
Mr. Clerk, may I have a roll call, please?
Council members Good,
Yes.
Councilman Hockaday,
Yes.
Councilman Storch,
Yes.
Councilwoman Tolliver,
Yes.
Councilwoman Williams,
Yes.
Vice President Mills Ransom,
Yes.
Council President McCray.
Yes.
This ordinance has been adopted on first reading and public hearing will take place at the next regular meeting on Monday, April 9th, 2022.
Mr. Clerk, will you please read ordinance MC 2018-07 by title?
MC 2018-07 is an ordinance amending the schedule for salaries and wages adopted pursuant to Article 14, Chapter 11 of the Municipal Code of the City of Plainfield, New Jersey, which is a salary amendment for the Plainfield Municipal Managers Association.
I will now entertain a motion to adopt this ordinance on first reading.
Move.
Second.
May I have a roll call, please?
Council members Good,
Yes.
Hockaday,
Yes.
Storch,
Yes.
Tolliver,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Vice President Mills Ransom,
Yes.
Council President McCray.
Yes.
That is unanimous. This ordinance has been adopted on first reading and a public hearing will take place at the next meeting on Monday, April 9th, 2022.
Would the Corporation Council please explain the new item identified as MC 2018-08?
Thank you, Council President. Council members, as you'll see, there is a new item for consideration this evening. Specifically, this is an ordinance to renew a petition to our state legislator for amendments to Plainfield Special Charter. As you may recall, in 2013, a Charter Study Commission was formed of 5 members of the community who were elected, who worked tirelessly to review our special charter and to propose amendments to that special charter. Our charter has not been amended since its creation in 1968. They came forward with a comprehensive Charter Study Commission report. That report was given to the City Council in 2014, at which time the City Council, via ordinance, petitioned the state legislature to make the necessary changes to our charter. As you may recall, only the legislature can make amendments to our charter by a 2/3 vote of both houses. Unfortunately, though, no action was taken by the legislature over the last 4 years. We have renewed our efforts, and we believe that the legislature may entertain these amendments at this time, and we'd like to push forward. But in order to do so, we require a new action of the City Council to renew that petition for those amendments. So we ask the Council tonight to renew our petition and allow us to see if we can get the legislature to make those amendments as we had originally requested.
Mr. Clerk, will you please read ordinance MC 2018-08 by title?
MC 2018-08 is an ordinance renewing the petition to the New Jersey State Legislature for the passage of a special law to amend the Plainfield Charter 1968 as recommended by the Plainfield Charter Study Commission.
I will now entertain a motion to adopt this ordinance on first reading.
So moved.
Question.
Need a second.
I need a second.
Second.
Okay. Question?
What are the amendments?
Well, Council President, I can answer that. So, there are many amendments, but I'll highlight just a few. Many provisions in our charter do not conform with state law. Specifically, we have a municipal vacancy provision in our charter, which does not conform with state law. We have language with regard to dual office holding that doesn't conform with state law. Both of those provisions are now corrected in our charter going forward. Also, we are constrained in how many departments we may have in the city to only 3. The Faulkner Act allows up to 8. So this will allow us by council action, by council action, we can amend our code now to include departments as this council sees fit. So it gives us additional flexibility with regard to the adding or deleting of departments. So those are the major portions. There's also a lot of language that's cleaned up. And actually, Councilman, there's a comprehensive report which I'd be happy to share with you so you can review all of the recommended changes in advance of the second reading, which would be next month.
Thank you.
Also a comment. And there's a lot of work went into this, and I think some of the current city council members were not on the council, that may have followed this anyway, but I think we have a month between now and the second reading, at least a month. And I think we should use that time to look at this more closely. Before we vote on this, we should understand all the amendments. Not everything that was proposed is simply to fix, to conform to the state law. There's some other changes. I think it was a really good effort, and I generally support it. But I think this should be an informed yes vote. So one of the ways we could do that would be to just create a subcommittee to come back with just like a review, or even ask the current the commissioners who served on that Charter Study Commission. I think they're all still in town. We could also ask them to give us a report at the next meeting. But I think we need to do at least one of those, or if not both of those steps, in order to have an informed vote next month.
We would certainly welcome that. The only thing I would add, Council President and Council Source, is that unfortunately it's not, the council has to either look at the findings of the charter study, accept them or reject them. We can't, at least the way the process is set up for a charter study review is that ultimately the action will be taken by the legislature. It would be this council would either move it forward for legislative consideration or not. We can't revisit all of the recommendations or the cherry pick the ones we want, unfortunately.
Yeah, thank you for reminding me. So then I take back my second recommendation. I still think we should have the commissioners who serve come before us and summarize, really go through all the amendments.
Mr. President, I should also take this opportunity to remind the council that this ordinance was, I believe, unanimously adopted a couple of years ago. The only reason you go through this process is because the Assembly would have had to act in the same year that the ordinance was passed. And this is simply to comply with this. We're not changing anything. We're just reasserting the council and the city's desire so that the legislature can act in the same year in which the ordinance was adopted.
And that does not preclude us from bringing the commissioners before us for our sake as well as for the public's sake to understand the importance of this and what's in it.
Okay. I will now entertain, well, we did the motion. Can I have the motion?
So roll call on MC 2018-08. Council members Good? Yes. Councilman Hockaday?
Yes.
Councilman Storch?
Yes.
Councilwoman Tower?
Yes.
Councilwoman Williams?
Yes.
Vice President Mills Ransom?
Yes.
Council President McCray?
Yes.
That is unanimous. This ordinance has been adopted on first reading, and a public hearing on this ordinance will take place at the next regular meeting on Monday, April 9th, 2018.
A total of 60 minutes has been allocated for all public comments to be presented. If you wish to be heard, please give your name and address to the clerk for the record. The amount of time any single person is allowed will be limited to 5 minutes. The floor is now open.
Hello everyone, how you doing? My name is Willie Robinson. I live at 331, 329 Franklin Place. And I'm here because of the new parking signs, no parking signs in the area. It's really causing a hardship for the community and the residents of the area. We live in a multi-family area, nothing but multi-families. 3 homes, 4-family homes, apartment buildings, and there's inadequate parking as it is. I owned my home for 25 years. I have never had a problem with parking, but now I see the people who are living on First Place or Watch On, they're taking spots on Franklin, and it's a concern of mine for my daughter and my wife, who sometimes come home late. Now they have to park on Putnam by Carlton and walk home. That to me is a problem. I'm here because I want to have those signs taken down. We never had a problem. I mean, it might be for public emergency vehicles or whatever, but my block is about the same size as this block right here. This city, this place is on right here, and you got parking on both sides here. That's not a problem because you got you know, you got the meters there. My suggestion, maybe we can get some permit parking at certain times, but we need those spaces in that area, because there's no adequate parking. I mean, you know, so maybe the director can, you know, comment on it or whatever, and why they're there, or what. I need to know, you know, I would like to know. I mean, there gotta be other solutions. You know, we live there. Why put the hardship on us? I came outside, my daughter had a ticket, my tenants had tickets. It's not right. We work hard, and you know, what, we decide to pay tickets here? No, it's not right. So that's my concern. Maybe we can come to some type of solution about it, you know. Like I said, permit parking at a certain time, whatever, but we gotta do something. Gotta do something. The safety of my daughter, my wife, I can't have it. Them having to park way over here, 2 blocks away and walking home. Nah. Not the way the crime is here in Plainfield, no. I can't have that. So that's my concern. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So sorry, now you can see me, I'm the beginning of talk. I recently just purchased a house on December 21st. Oh, I'm sorry, Gwendolyn Wright. I live at 1045 Field Avenue, well, I'm supposed to. But I purchased a house on December 21st, my husband and I, he's Leonard Wright. And unfortunately, there is a problem with PSE&G, and we need a permit to dig up the street. At this point, I'm not sure if I still need your approval for that, as PSE&G is coming to the home tomorrow, because we have not been able to move into the home because there were things that needed to be done, and unfortunately they couldn't be done because we couldn't get the permit. My complaint or my concern as a new resident is that when PSE&G submitted the initial permit to the city engineer, which didn't really take long, and neither did the response from the city. But the response was no, because the street had just been paved. I was floored because I don't care, because I purchased this house, I wanted to move in, I'm an educator, I had Christmas off, we thought we would get some things done. My concern is when I spoke to the city engineer, and I said to her, just what I said to you, and she said, oh, well, I didn't know the ownership had changed. That concerned me on several causes. If I was a resident and lived here, and I'm paying my taxes, why would you not allow for that permit to happen? And as a new person, I just felt utterly destroyed. And my question to her was, do you not get a list of the homes that have sold by the 5th of the next month about the previous month? And she said, I'm the only one in this department, and that's taken care of down the street. And I said to her, that's asinine. I said, I'm not saying you're an ass, but that policy doesn't make sense to me. I said, I've received welcome to the neighborhood from the mechanic around the corner, the church around the corner, Bed Bath & Beyond, and all these other people, Verizon, ADT, you name it, I've received it. I don't know how it is she would not have that information to make an educated decision about it. So that really concerned me. And like I said, as a new resident, I didn't want to come to you the first time with a complaint. I wanted to come as a helping hand, and eventually I'm sure I'll get there. But I was very livid. And again, I'm not sure if I need you to get that permit because PSE&G is coming tomorrow, and I'm assuming that the city engineer approved it. And I'm glad I had the time to cool down because you can imagine how angry and frustrated I was. So please, if you do come across that, if I do need the permit, I'm hoping that I will get the permit, as I would like to move into the home. I have not stayed one night there. Too cold, and my contractor cannot do any work without the gas from PSE&G. Thank you.
Thank you, and welcome to the neighborhood.
Okay, my name is Lakita Davis. I live at 744 Washington Avenue. I'm here in reference to the parking. I work 2 jobs. I get home about like 8 o'clock at night. The other night I had to park all the way on Webster Place and had to walk all the way home because there was no parking. The other night I had to park on Kensington Avenue and walk home. So it's inconvenience, like trying to find a parking space from the hours that I actually get off from work.
Hello, my name is Alvira Phillips. I live at 833 2nd Place, Plainfield, on the corner of East 9th Street. Same problem as a few other people here, parking. We've been living in our home, my sister and I, it's all family-owned, family-occupied, for 33 years. We've never had a parking problem. Since this ordinance has taken place, it's presented a problem for all of us. My sister works till 11 o'clock at night. She has to park 2-3 blocks away just to walk home. In this weather, in these conditions, it's not good. I came home yesterday, 12 bags of groceries. Could not find a park. Had to park on the street, put my emergency blinkers on so I wouldn't get in trouble, bring my groceries in the house, then go and find myself a park a block away from home. It's not right. As the gentleman said here, maybe you have some alternative thinking or something else that can be done to help those of us who live in this community, have been paying taxes for all of these years and did not receive any consideration when these parking plans were put into place. In addition to that, with the side of the street parking that is taking place, what happens to our side of the street? I live on the side of the street where people park. When do my side of the street get snow removal? When do our side of the street get hedges or anything else? When does that take place for us? Basically what happens. Thank you.
Thank you. Get your response.
My name is Teresa Lee. I live at 1022 Grove Street in Plainfield. Mine is the same complaint as William and this young lady here and the other young lady. The parking is horrible. It's terrible. I've gotten tickets because I had nowhere to park. We have to go too many blocks down the park. It's not just me. We have elderly people. They don't even have a parking space. I live in a complex. Everybody drives. Where are we supposed to park? And in my mind, I'm going to be honest with you. In my mind, this is what I'm thinking. We paying these parking tickets, you're putting up these parking signs so that whatever is going on in the city, it looks great, what's going on in the city, so that money can be paid to them. I'm talking about the apartments, the building up downtown. I don't know what's going on in the City Brook Park, nobody else knows. Everybody's asking questions, there's no answer. I'm feeling like that's part of that too. We have to, and then with the raises of the mayor, we are simple people. We are trying our best to do what we need to do in order to at least survive. And we're not having it. We can't do this. We cannot do this. It's not right, it's not fair. Because I had no parking spaces, I got 3 tickets. 3 tickets, say $35 a piece. $35 a piece. Where am I supposed to park? I'm not walking 5 or 6 blocks just to come home at night by myself. It's not fair. It's not fair and it's not right. And that's all I have to say.
Thank you.
Johnny Pritchard, formerly of 723 Arlington Avenue, Plainfield, now 42-44 West Holly Street, Cranford. Several things I'd like to address the council about. First off, Nancy Power is the best lady and the best person that Plainfield's ever has. And I think that she ought to be awarded the Congressional Medal of Honor for her service to the community, especially in the historical field. She's one fine lady whom you can be proud of. Secondly, we need to back our soldiers, sailors, Marines, Coast Guardsmen, and Airmen who are doing their utmost, especially those who are from Plainfield, who are doing their best to defend our freedom wherever they are serving. We failed to do that during the war in Vietnam. We lost 16 men, 16 Plainfield sons. We lost them to enemy action. When the survivors returned, they were called Nazis, murderers, baby killers. I think that word Nazi ought to be retired once and for all. It's just as bad as the other word, which of course I will not use. And there's a line that I like to quote. The poor brave soldier ne'er despised, nor counted as a stranger, Remember, he's his country's stay in day and hour of danger. And third, we need to reactivate Muhlenberg Hospital. We need to reactivate that hospital as soon as possible. We need that hospital. We need it badly. We need it ASAP. What if another 9/11 attack occurs? We'll need that hospital very, very badly. Let's not forget that on September 11, 2001, nearly 3,000 old people were slaughtered like hogs in a pen. And the sooner we activate Muhlenberg, the better off we all will be. Do I make myself clear?
Yes.
Good evening. My name is Jessica Rivera. I live on Marina Place. So I come into for the parking, the same problem that many people. I'm sorry, I didn't speak English, so he translate.
She says she got 5 tickets for parking where she lives. Her daughter, her husband, her sister, and one of her tenants also got a ticket. And she also got a ticket. She says it's not justice that she received. She never received any notice that you guys were going to put out signs on her street. She was out of the country for personal reasons, and when she returned, she got tickets on her vehicle. And for each ticket, she's paying $54.
No tengo dónde parquearme, los carros a veces no sé dónde dejarme, me voy a la otra cuadra, es el mismo problema y tengo que caminar con mis hijas en todo el frío y no me parece justo. Yo compré una casa permitiéndome el parking ahí.
She said that she looks for parking about two blocks away. She cannot find parking. The tickets are $54 per ticket per each vehicle. Can you help us? Because can you look for a solution so so we can park in front of my property that I just bought? About 2 years ago, she bought this property. Thank you.
Good evening. Good evening. Unfortunately, I don't know this city, and neither did you up here or the residents. There are several narrow streets within the city that unfortunately require one-sided street parking due to emergency response. However, we encourage a lot of individuals to use driveways. I've driven a lot of streets along with the Public Works Director, my police officers, as well as other fire members, where we've seen vehicles parked on one side of the street and nobody's using their driveways. What I'm going to do is reevaluate, look again, if this area is wide enough to see if there's any adjustments to be made. But however, we had a major snowstorm these past week. It would be hard pressed to get plows through and large fire engines through, and we're still emergency response. Safety is paramount. Life is very important to me, it's important to the residents of the city, and for safety purposes, my main concern is public safety to get vehicles through. And unfortunately, so many storms, we just do not have that ability to do that without one-sided street parking. And we'll do our best to reevaluate and look at that.
Thank you. Director Brown, when you reevaluate, I've had some constituents call me that say they don't have a driveway. That's the issue. So they don't have anywhere else to park. So I don't know if that was worked into the first evaluation, but probably looking at that because I was sent schematic that looks like it's very difficult in the area. And I'll show that to you. But also with no driveway and then with an apartment complex there.
we will do our best, and unfortunately, a lot of apartment complex, they do have parking in the back, and I don't know if these individuals do not park or the owner doesn't make it available. But my main concern, and I think everybody's main concern here in the city council, would be safety. If I can't get a fire truck through, or a major slow response, that's gonna be a problem.
Yeah, I'm concerned about it too, and I wasn't talking about apartment dwellers, where they park, it's the homeowners who don't have a driveway.
I understand. We'll try our best to revisit and do our best. Thank you.
I also want to comment, and this is in particular, the Crescent Avenue district has like a lot of housing and not enough parking, there's no doubt about it. So, but we do have these safety concerns, and I think what we need to do is look at a couple of options on how we could alleviate the situation. One of them would be permanent parking. We've used permanent parking to solve parking problems around the emergency room and at the Nuremberg campus. We used it near the train station, and it does entail, the way we've done it in the past, and I assume we would do it this way, we go door to door, our staff would try to get input from every affected resident, and talk about the options, and particularly the permanent parking option. There's actually a couple of permanent parking options, but I do think we need to look into it as soon as possible in the Crescent Avenue district.
No other?
Well, I'm not saying just for Crescent Avenue district, but that one for sure, that's the one I'm aware of.
Mr. President, the administration will revisit the issue and will come with a recommendation to the governing body. I must say to our residents that safety is always our paramount concern, and that comes first for us. It is just job number one, public safety. Having said that, in terms of homeowners, I think homeowners can make a case, and we will look at that, for permit parking. One of the reasons that drove this decision, in addition to the public safety concern, is that we have a number of apartment dwellings in our city where landlords are breaking the law and are charging you, the tenants, for parking. It's illegal. They are not supposed to charge you for parking. And if any of you in here are landlords and you are doing that, you should stop it. Because once we find out, we are going to be pursuing you in order to get you into compliance. Now, having said that, homeowners who are experiencing this challenge, we will pay close attention to the impact that it has had on you. If you own your home, you should not have to walk 3 and 4 blocks to find a parking space. Those cars that will park on Crescent Place, for the most part, there are tenants in apartment buildings, and the landlords are supposed to provide parking. But if we push them from there onto Franklin Place, where there are homeowners that are now having a problem, then we would have defeated the purpose, the intended purpose of the ordinance. So we're going to look at everything that you brought to our attention, and the administration will make a recommendation to the governing body for its consideration.
Okay. Mr. Jackson.
My name is John Jackson, 909 West 7th Street. These posted signs for right turns, no right turns on red, on the corner of Trail Road and Trail Road and South and North Avenue. There's a sign saying no right turns on red. But before the sign, if you drive up to it, it's obscured and you can't see it. The sign on the traffic light above, at night, you can't see it. So not being aware of this, I made a right turn there and I got a ticket for Scotch Plains. I'd like you to investigate that sign and if you drive up to it, to have it corrected. The sign should be posted so it can be seen by the public, so they won't make the right turn if they don't want you to do it. I think it's some kind of trap. Every once in a while, the police or the city set up these traps. They tell you that the ticket doesn't cost much or whatever, and there's no points. The point is, there's a good chance that somewhere along the line it interferes in that it makes your insurance go up because you got that kind of ticket. So with that sign, I'd like you to check it out and change it and let them know that they should do it. There was something else I wanted to bring up.
Public comment.
Oh, the public advocate, you had another name for it. I wanted the name of the person so I could get in touch with him in case I do not. Do you recall last week?
That was the Human Rights Commission. Human Rights.
What about?
Who's in charge of it?
Oh, who's in charge of it? I'm not sure who the chairman is this year. We may have a Human Relations Commissioner in the room.
Yes, the chairperson is Mrs. Jessica Phillips. She's the chairperson of the Human Relations Commission.
At City Hall?
We meet in City Hall, in fact, we will have a meeting tomorrow at 7 p.m. and you're more than welcome to come and voice your concerns.
Mr. Jackson?
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm sure you could also get the contact information if you speak to our city administrator, Mr. Sanchez. I'm sure he can get you the information.
I will speak to you after the meeting.
Sorry about that.
One other thing, I'd like to see if you could open the senior center later than 5 o'clock more than one day than this Thursday. Sometimes the Thursdays get mixed up. We come and they say we're doing something else, and it's not open to us. They come in for a different reason. And I'd like to consider it. Thank you.
Council President, I also wanted to add that the Human Relations Commission does have complaint forms in the city clerk's office, and the process is that the residents fill out the complaint forms, they go to the city clerk's office, and they're forwarded to the Human Relations Commission directly to the chairman. So if he comes to the city clerk's office, we can provide you with information on the Human Relations Commission, provide you with a form, and you can fill out that form and we'll forward it to the Human Relations Commission.
Is that Mr. Jackson?
All right, I'll go to the city clerk's office and tell them. Which complaint were you referring to?
The complaint for you're talking about the advocate.
Yeah, all right, fine. All right, thank you.
James Branch, prior Plainfield address 318 Berkman Street. Past 12 years been working in New York on issues of our value system. I just wanted to briefly state that this bicycle share thing is not really really good for the particular city for several reasons. And due to some of the work I've been working on, the lawyer has labeled it as classified. So what I wanted to do was pass this article that was printed today to the Director of Public Safety and Affairs and request a meeting with him to discuss what was going on as far as the confidential information. Okay?
Yes, to the clerk.
To the clerk? Okay. Then second, I came back to Plainfield because, I grew up in Plainfield and we had a nice band that was, went worldwide, which was Palmer Funkadelic. And we came back to work on getting a songbook put together for a movie that we've been working on. But, just to let you know, I want to see if it's fair and there won't be any conflict if I contact former Mayor Sharon Robinson Brigg to deal with the issue of getting a city proclamation, awarded for Palmer Funkadelic for the work that they did. Would that be any problem with the city?
She cannot do the proclamation for you.
She cannot, so it has to be a outside lawyer. Well, just, as far as the legalities of what's going on is ridiculous. I mean, one of the things that, with the city charter and even what Mr. Jackson is saying is that you're playing with a lot of legalities in the study that's going on, charter study, but the people really don't understand the objectives of the law and what you're trying to achieve. So, I've been stuck in a particular legal situation, and it's been dragged on for years. You know, simple thing of finding honesty within the, political system. But, as far as dealing with it, we're still working on it, and as far as dealing with the charter study review, we'd like to know, is there going to be lawyers available who's going to, address certain issues, including the salaries and, so on and so forth, so we can have clarity and the residents can understand what's going on. Corporation Council,
This is not a question and
okay,
answer.
all right. Well, that's a question I'd like to know. As far as will there be lawyers available for problems dealing with the city and working with certain particular issues, especially with emergency management systems? Okay, thank you.
Nancy Peeler, 1129 Merle Avenue. First of all, the city just experienced one of the most horrendous storms, and I appreciate all the city workers and police and fire and the dispatchers that helped out myself and some of the residents in my area. I know some residents really suffered a lot. But one of the issues that arose out of the Storm Quinn is that there's a lot of dangling wires. And a lot of the dangling wires are cable wires. And a lot of us residents no longer have that service. So maybe the cable advisory board needs to look at that, because I had one hanging off my house. And in order to get it removed, even though I don't have that service anymore, I had to call the Board of Public Utilities, and it worked, because now the wire's not there anymore. So I got 2 phone calls from somebody from Delaware, and they sent somebody out to remove the wire. But it brought an issue to me, is that when residents no longer have those services, those companies should remove those wires. And they should also remove the satellite dishes if those residents no longer have those services. So we need to look at that and maybe come up with an ordinance or something like that, because it shouldn't be my responsibility to take down a wire that, I no longer have the service for. But I solved the problem because I know how to work the government, so it worked. Another thing is, we had a lot of trees down, and somebody needs to talk to the county. I will talk to them along Myrtle Avenue, county properties. A lot of those trees are heavily damaged along Myrtle, and we really need to have them removed. I did call one before the storm, and within 2 hours, PSE&G was out there and took the tree down. But unfortunately, it didn't help the lady down the street, because that was a city tree that fell. And the city tree that fell took out a cherry tree that was put there as a memorial to a young lady that lived in my neighborhood who was murdered back in 2000, and her case is still unsolved. And now we're going to have to replace the cherry tree in her memory, because the city tree took down the other tree that was put up. And one more thing, I want to go back to the endowments. It's unfortunate that there's issues with the health center. It's unfortunate that endowments that were left in Muhlenberg, the city didn't take a stand and try to get them to maybe perhaps help the health center. Millions of dollars are now going to Hackensack, Edison, wherever they're gone. There were 4 orders of show cause, 3 of which I participated in. The other one I had no idea it happened, because the public wasn't notified about the scholarships. But it's unfortunate that donor intent was to help the poor people in the city and to, maintain it. And now we could be at a loss for a health center. And some of those endowments, possibly, if somebody had stood up in court, could have been, besides myself and another pro se litigant, could have maybe gone to help the health center that was started back after the riots under model cities. And I appreciate the clarity that the mayor gave about the charter study. I'll take a look at it. And the fact that the council made, another council made a recommendation, and that it shouldn't, at least what I understood, that the action should stand as what the other council did. So that, I guess, would mean that any other prior council that made an action, this council should uphold that action, if that's what I heard. Thank you very much.
Seeing no more.
President, I have a comment. I have a question for Director Riley. We heard the citizens that were complaining about the signs, and I know we all voted on it for safety reasons. What I'm concerned about now, until you get some type of proposal and look at the streets that perhaps they can park on, until you can maybe get some type of other parking, or maybe the city can send out some type of letters to these apartment buildings where the tenants are supposed to be able to park there and they are parking in other spaces. I'm concerned with, will these citizens continue to get tickets until we come up with something?
I understand that, but that's something that we really have to look at. What a lot of people don't understand is, I'll give you a prime example, Essex Street. I got complaints on Essex Street. I've driven down there, and with my vehicle and cars on the road, you can barely fit, another car down there one lane. But the problem that I saw is nobody parked in their driveway. Nobody parked in their driveway. I personally got out of my truck, went door to door, knocked on doors, asked individuals to park on the driveway. I got told it's their right to park on the road, it's their driveway, etc. I'm not going to go, into all that. But however, we would do our best to make our adjustments to notify residents. We did send letters out to apartment owners before it passed to let them know, and we'll do our best to do what we have to do. It's going to be a case-by-case basis. If I can't get a fire truck down the road, it's really impeding. It's a problem.
I mean, I understand completely before I voted on it, I understand what you're saying, but what I'm concerned about is until we find out if there's a driveway where they can adequately park and safety is an issue, so the residents that don't park in their driveways, then I can understand them getting tickets, but what I'm concerned about is that if it's the apartment buildings that's causing some of the problem for the residents that pay taxes and can't park in their driveways or gotta park 2 blocks away. I'm just concerned about they're gonna continue to get tickets until you figure out who can park, where they're gonna park, and what we're gonna do.
Well, myself and Director Dabney, he has a parking authority also, and I have police division. We'll come up with a plan to see what we can do to hopefully minimize the concerns for now.
That's what I'm asking. Can we just minimize it for the time being until you come up with some strategy on what you're gonna do about it?
We'll do the best we can, but if it's a safety concern, I'm gonna have to deal with something, but we'll do the best we can.
All right.
Right, thank you.
Seeing no more public comments, and I have a motion to close public comments.
So,
Second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed?
before you make a motion, are you gonna make a motion to adjourn? Because I wanted to bring something up. Really, just the storm and our response to the storm. I think I am speaking to all council members and saying thank you to DPW and public safety and everybody else who works for the city who responded to a very, very difficult situation. The weather wasn't the worst storm weather we've seen, but I think the tree damage and the electrical line damage was probably the worst I've seen in the 40 years I've been here. And it was a lot to handle. But I also think there are some opportunities for a better response. And it's not so much more effort from the staff because they did everything they could. It's really the procedures. I think it would be helpful for us to get with PSE&G because if there's a tree and an electrical line down in a street, there's like 5 or 6 different steps that have to be taken before power can be restored. And there's an opportunity for delays between each of those steps. And I think those are the kinds of things that we should look at, the workflow, to see if we could work with PSE&G to minimize the delays. Because I saw lots of delays that were just procedural delays that people were powerless to do anything about, and it caused some delays in getting restoration of power. So I urge the administration to get with PSE&G and work on that. But again, I think, I will mention one, I think that we can handle, we don't have to go to PSE&G. When we put up the barricades, when a tree is down, what I saw was often the police were placing the barricades right on either side of the tree rather than blocking off the whole street. And certainly on the first day when there was still a lot of ice on the ground, cars were driving down these icy roads only to come to a barricade right next to a tree and then having to do a U-turn, back up and try to find another way out of the neighborhood. I think we can prevent that from happening by putting up the barricades at the street corners so that only local traffic could get in and only the through traffic will know not to go down that street. And I didn't see the police doing enough of that, and I just think it's something, maybe that's a training thing, but I think we can fix that.
Yeah, that was done purposely in certain areas because we did block off certain roads and residents were barreling through and complaining, so we did make some adjustments. But going forward, we'll make sure that we, do the best we can a little bit better. It's not that easy being out there.
Mr. President, I just want to say a few words about the storm. And I appreciate Councilor Storch recognizing that this storm was not by any means a minor storm. It was a major storm, and although it wasn't Hurricane Sandy, it had the effects of Hurricane Sandy. There were trees and lines down all over the city. We had 1,882 homes that were without power for a number of days. It took a great deal of effort on the part of PSNG and the team from DPW to really clean up the streets and to restore power to the many homes. As of 8:51 p.m. this evening, there are only 9 homes that remain without power. I must tell you that every emergency gives us an opportunity to learn more. And we've had some lessons that we've learned from this storm. We would take that into consideration as we seek to improve processes as it relates to communication and operational issues that we have encountered. But this storm was a major storm that had the effects of Hurricane Sandy across our city. In terms of the cleanup effort is ongoing, and we want to encourage residents to bring the downed trees and debris that they have on their lawns and in their backyards, bring it out to the curb. The city will collect every branch, every twig that resulted from the storm, but you have to bring it to the curb, and that effort will continue over the course of the next several days as we get all of the debris removed from the curb and from the roadway. In terms of the parking issue, we will address that. We have provided notices to every apartment owner in this city. We will reissue those notices informing them of the obligation they have to comply with the law and to provide parking for their tenants. And any tenant who is being charged for parking by a landlord, please call City Hall and make us aware of that situation, because we will make sure that we force them to comply with the law. If we have to bring them into court, we will do that. But every landlord has an obligation to provide you with parking. And so we will stay on top of that situation. And again, I want to thank DPW, PSNG, and all that were involved in the effort over the past few days, helping us to get back to normal as it relates to the effects that we all felt from the hurricane. Thank you.
Okay, I have a motion to adjourn. Second.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed?